Today we are going to talk about using unit rates. So we've already learned what a rate and unit rate are, but now we're going to practice using them. And before we do that, let's quick review our vocab words. Our first one is rate, and this is a ratio comparing different units. So it's just we're getting more specific in our ratio. A unit rate is even more specific as it compares a quantity to one of another quantity. So your denominator is always one in a unit rate. We want to know what is one of something. For both rate and unit rate, we always include our units. So we need to be very careful about that. You must include your units. We are talking about two different things here when we are comparing them, so we need to know what we're talking about. We also always start with a word ratio, and our word ratio is kind of our blueprint for our work. It guides us and helps us stay organized. So let's take a look at a situation here. Okay, so it says you paid $27 for 3 pizzas. Okay, I know we've seen that situation before, and we are going to review it and then apply it. So stay with me here. We start with our word ratio. Always, 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 always. Okay, so our word ratio here, what are the two things we're comparing? Well, we're comparing the money and the number of pizzas. So I need to ask myself, what do I want one of? Do I want to know how much pizza I can get for $1? No, I don't want to know that because it would likely be just part of a pizza or a piece of pizza. So I don't want to know that. I do want to know the cost of one pizza. Think about it. If you go to a pizza place, you don't see on the board like how much of a pizza you can get for $1. You see how much one pizza costs. Therefore, we want our word ratio to be money on top and pizza on the bottom because I want my pizza to be the one in my denominator. A helpful hint is typically money is on top more often than not. Not always, so you got to double check yourself, but a lot of times money is on top. My rate, we will recall that my rate can just get pulled directly from my situation that I have, keeping with the money on top and pizza on the bottom. I take my $27 over my 3 pizzas. Now, it's important to note that in this case, the 27 is first and the 3 pizzas is second in our situation, but that's not always the case. It won't always go the first number on top and the second number on bottom. So you do need to ask yourself, what do I want one of? What do I want one of? I want to know about one pizza's cost. Okay, so for my unit rate, I take this and $27, 3 pizzas. I need to get my denominator to be 1. So to do that, I divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Because I divide the denominator by 1, I also need to divide my numerator by 1. 27 divided by, because I divided my denominator by 3, I divide my numerator by 3 as well. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. Note that here in my rate, I include my units. In my unit rate, I include my units. So this right here is my unit rate. Okay, so that part was a review. We've already discussed that. What we need to do now is apply it. We need to use our unit rate. So our next piece says, how much would it cost to purchase 7 pizzas? So I take my unit rate, $9. Again, money is still on top. We follow that word ratio. $9 times 1 pizza. Okay, so I want 7 pizzas. and I want to know how much that will cost. So how do I get from 1 pizza to 7 pizzas? Well, I multiply my denominator by 7. 1 times 7 is 7. Because I multiply my denominator by 7, I must also multiply my numerator by 7. 9 times 7 is 63. Therefore, the answer to my final question is it would cost $63 to purchase 7 pizzas. Okay, so I started with my word ratio, moved to my rate, divided to get to my unit rate, and then I multiplied my unit rate to find my final answer. Now, I could ask this for anything. So I could say, how much would it cost to purchase 15 pizzas, 22 pizzas, 3 pizzas? We already have 3 pizzas, 2 pizzas. Once I get to my unit rate, I'm able to go off in many more directions than I am with that rate. Let's look at 2 more examples together here. The first one says that Tim ran 22 meters in 4 seconds. If he keeps the same pace, how far can Tim run in 13 seconds? So I want you to note that up here, we always start with our word ratio. That's step 1. Step 2 is to pull out the rate from our situation. Step 3, we will show our work to get us our unit rate. Then from there, we will show our work again to get our final answer. So there's 6 parts to these problems, and you are going to show your work for every single one. I will show you what that looks like. So it says Tim ran 22 meters in 4 seconds. If he keeps the same pace, how far can Tim run in 13 seconds? Now, the first thing we need to do is our word ratio. We need to ask ourselves, what do we want one of? A lot of times, we want one of whatever our question is. So it says, how far can Tim run in 13 seconds? So we want to get our 4 seconds down to 1 second so we can get it up to 13 seconds, if that makes sense. We don't need to know how long it took him to run 1 meter in this case. So our word ratio would be meters over seconds. Here you'll begin to see why this word ratio is so important. So that was step 1. Step 2, I pull my rate out from my situation. Well, this is the knowledge that we have. He ran 22 meters in 4 seconds. We will note that meters stays on top. This is why our word ratio is helpful to us and why we continue to write our units along the way. Now we know our goal is to get to a unit rate of 1 second. To get from 4 to 1 second, I show my work, and in this case, I will divide both my numerator and my denominator by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 22 divided by 4. Again, I can get out my calculator for this. We are able to use our calculators during this if you do not know that off the top of your head. 22 divided by 4 is 5.5 meters. Okay, so that was step 4. I have my unit rate. Now from here, I can take this unit rate and multiply it by anything to see how far Tim ran in any number of seconds. In this case, it's asking me how far he ran in 13 seconds. So step 5 would be to multiply 13 over 13. 1 times 13 we know is 13 seconds. And then I can multiply 5 and 5/10 by 13, which will get me 71 and 5/10 meters. So if he kept the same pace, Tim can run 71.5 meters in 13 seconds. Pretty speedy. So we have every step marked out, helping us stay organized, and then we can check meters, 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 meters. We are good to go. Okay. Again, then we also want to make sure that we are using our units. We want to make sure we understand what that answer is telling us. We've got one more to try together today. It says, I drove 198 miles with 6 gallons of gas. How many miles can I drive with 11 gallons of gas? What would my word ratio be? What do I want one of here? Do I want to know how many gallons of gas it takes me to drive 1 mile? Or do I want to know how many miles I drive with 1 gallon of gas? I want to know one of gas. So my word ratio is miles over gallons. What is my unit rate? Good, 198 miles for 6 gallons. How do I get my unit rate of 1 gallon? What goes here? Good, I divide by 6. My unit rate then is 33 miles for 1 gallon. But I want to know about 11 gallons. How do I get my unit rate to have 11 gallons of gas? Good. I multiply by 11 over 11. So what is the answer to my question? How many miles can I drive with 11 gallons of gas? Go ahead and type your answer into the box.